The Great Balance. I will never forget that night years ago during my journey through the equatorial jungles of Africa. I was sailing the Great Nile on a riverboat. We had passed Malakal and entered a region teeming with mosquitoes, where the Nile spreads out into marshes as far as the eye can see. The boat drifted on the water's surface in a thick, intensely humid atmosphere. Nearly everyone on the ship fell ill with malaria, even the captain. I was swallowing camoquin tablets regularly, fearing a fever. One night it occurred to me to go up to the deck to see equatorial Africa at night. I smeared my face and arms with mosquito repellent and slipped up to the top. What I saw was like something from a dream. Thousands of trees were lighting up and going out, like Christmas trees with which children play, having fitted them with thousands of small electric bulbs, switching them on and off together. I rubbed my eyes in astonishment and looked again. What I saw was reality, not imagination. The trees were indeed winking, as if covered with thousands of electric lights, then going dark. The captain informed me that what I saw that night was reality itself. Those trees were covered with thousands of fireflies. They light up together to attract mosquitoes, eat them, and then go dark before lighting up again. He explained that this is the law of nature. Whenever an insect multiplies, God creates a counter-insect to consume it, preserving the balance of creatures so that one does not dominate the other, except by a precise calculation. I kept remembering that night and that conversation, and every day more evidence gathered within me that the universe is indeed the theater of the great balance in all things, and that everything within it has been measured with precise estimation. If the Earth were smaller than it is, its gravity would weaken, it would not hold on to its air, which would scatter into space, the water would evaporate, it would become barren like the moon, no water, no air, no atmosphere, and life would be impossible. If it were larger, its gravitational force would increase. Movement on its surface would become more difficult, and each of us would weigh many times more, our bodies becoming a heavy burden impossible to carry. If it rotated on its axis more slowly, like the moon for instance, the day would stretch to 14 days and the night to 14 nights. The climate would flip from killing heat lasting 2 weeks to killing frost lasting another 2 weeks, and life would become impossible. Similarly, if the Earth moved closer to the Sun in its orbit, like Venus, the heat would destroy us. If it moved farther away in its orbit, like Saturn and Jupiter, the cold would destroy us. Furthermore, we know it rotates on a tilt of 23 degrees, which gives rise to the seasons and makes more regions of the Earth suitable for agriculture and habitation. If the Earth's crust were thicker, it would absorb oxygen and we would not find our need of this precious gas for breathing. If the seas were deeper, they would not absorb the excess carbon dioxide, and plants would not find enough to live and respire. If the atmosphere were less dense, the falling meteors and shooting stars would burn us up, instead of these shooting stars being consumed and disintegrating as they penetrate the dense air layer as happens now. If the percentage of oxygen in the air were higher than it is now, combustibility would increase and small fires would turn into huge explosions. If it decreased, our activity would lapse into lethargy. If ice were less dense than water, it would not float on the surface, and it would not keep the depths of the seas warm and suitable for the life of fish and marine creatures. If it were not for the ozone shield erected in space above the Earth, which prevents ultraviolet rays from reaching the Earth except in small amounts, these killing rays would destroy us. If we come to the anatomy of man himself, we see the miracle and the enigma of this precise, calculated balance. Every element in the blood has a specific proportion and measure. sodium, potassium, calcium, sugar, cholesterol, urea. Any imbalance in these proportions, even by tiny amounts, means illness. If the imbalance worsens, it means disability and death. The body is armed with automatic mechanisms that work to maintain this balance throughout life. Even the alkalinity of the blood has controls to preserve it, and the acidity of urine has its controls. The conditioned temperature, always at 37 degrees Celsius, is maintained by a physiological and chemical process that keeps it stable and balanced at this level. Likewise, blood pressure, muscle tone, heart rate, the system of absorption and excretion, the system of chemical combustion in the furnace of the liver, then the neural balance between calming and exciting factors, then the regulatory process carried out by hormones and enzymes between accelerating and slowing down chemical and biological processes. A technical miracle among the miracles of balance, cohesion, and harmony known to every doctor and every student of physiology, anatomy, and organic chemistry. He has no partner in his dominion, and he created all things, then ordained them in due proportions. The examples in botany, zoology, medicine, and astronomy will never end, volumes upon volumes, and every page will support and confirm this precise balance and great discipline in the round of creation and creatures. To say that all this consistency and order happened by chance and coincidence is sheer naivety. It is like saying that an explosion in a printing house led to the letters arranging themselves in the form of a precise dictionary. The arrogant chemist who said, "Bring me air, water, clay, and the conditions of the origin of life, and I will make you a human." This chemist has already predetermined his need for all the elements and the conditions. This is an admission of the inability to imitate the creation of the Creator, who created the thing and also created its conditions. Even if we brought him all these elements and all those conditions, and even if he, hypothetically and arguendo, managed to create a human, he would not say chance made it, but rather I made it. The talk about the monkey sitting at a typewriter for an infinite period, typing an infinity of possibilities, and how he must one day, by chance, type a Shakespearean sonnet or a useful sentence, is a refutable argument. Let us concede for argument's sake that this happened in nature, that it happened by chance and coincidence, and that after millions upon millions of permutations and combinations between elements, a quantity of DNA capable of replicating itself formed by chance in the waters of the swamps. But how did this quantity of organic acid evolve into the life we see? We would then go back to saying, by chance the protoplasm formed, then by another chance the cell formed. Then it branched into two types, a plant cell and an animal cell. Then we climb the tree of life step by step, and with it this magic key. Whenever we are at loss to understand something, we say it happened by chance. Is this reasonable? By chance, migratory birds and fish find their way to their homelands thousands of miles away across deserts and seas? By chance, the chick picks the egg at its weakest point to emerge? By chance, wounds heal and stitch their edges by themselves without a surgeon? By chance, the sunflower realizes that the sun is the source of its life and follows it?
By chance, desert trees make winged seeds for themselves to fly across the deserts to where conditions are better for germination, shade, and rain. By chance, the plant discovered its green balm, chlorophyll, and used it to generate its life energy. By chance, the mosquito made buoyancy sacs for its eggs without the help of Archimedes. The bee, which established a society and a system, practiced architecture and the complex chemical arts by which it turns nectar into honey and wax. The termite, which discovered the primary laws of air conditioning and built air-conditioned homes and applied a strict system of classes in its society. The colored insects that discovered the principles and art of camouflage and disguise. Did all this come about by chance? And if we concede one chance at the beginning, how can the mind accept a continuous series of coincidences and random hits? It is sheer naivety, which only happens in cheap comedic films. Materialist thought found itself in a predicament facing this naivety, so it began trying to get rid of the word chance to assume another hypothesis. It said that all this amazing life, with its colors and classifications, began from a state of necessity, like the necessity that drives you to food when hungry. Then necessity contracted with the contracting of conditions, environments, and needs, and thus all these varieties emerged. This is merely playing with words. In place of chance, they put the phrase, the contracting of necessity, which in their view contracts spontaneously and grows. How does a single note grow into a symphony spontaneously? How does a single event grow into a well-knitted story without a composing intellect? Who established necessity in the first place? And how does necessity arise from non-necessity? This is the desperate struggle of the stubborn, malicious mind to avoid the voice of innate nature, which imposes itself to say that there is a creator, a manager, the guiding hand, the conductor's baton that leads this beautiful, wonderful symphony, this great balance, this amazing cohesion, compatibility, fusion, and harmony composed of millions of minute details, screams that there is an originator of these beginnings and that he is a God, capable, encompassing all perfections, close to his creatures, as close as their blood to their bodies, caring for them with the care of a tender father, responsive to their needs, hearing their cries, seeing their states. And he is God, whom the religions have described to us with his most beautiful names, and there is none like him. He is not the deaf law proposed by the dumb materialistic sciences, nor the God of Aristotle isolated, nor the God of Plato residing in the world of forms, nor is he the material existence in its entirety, as Spinoza and the followers of pantheism imagined. Rather, he is the one, the unique, unlike anything, transcendent above all the states, forms, shapes, time, and space that we know, apparent through his actions, hidden in his essence. No vision can grasp him, but his grasp is over all vision. Indeed, all vision sees by him, by his light, and by the capability he placed within it. The scientific mind does not acknowledge these mystical words and wants to see God to acknowledge him. If we tell him that God is not limited to fall within the range of sight, that he is infinity, that he is the unseen, he tells us that for this reason science does not acknowledge him, and that it is not from science to believe in the unseen, and that the realm of science is the perceptible, beginning from the perceptible and ending with the perceptible. We say to science, "You lie." Now half of science has become unseen. Science observes and records observations. It observes that climbing a mountain is harder than descending it, that lifting a stone is harder than lifting a stick, that when a bird dies it falls to the ground, that an apple falls from its tree to the ground, that the moon hangs suspended in the sky. These are observations that seem unrelated. But when Newton discovered gravity, all these observations became evidence pointing to this gravity. The apple falling from its tree, the difficulty of climbing a mountain, the difficulty of lifting a stone, the moon hanging in the sky. It is a theory that explained reality to us. And yet this gravity is an unseen. No one knows its essence. No one has seen the pillars that hold up the heavens with their stars and planets. Newton himself, the author of the theory, says in a letter to his friend Bentley, "It is inconceivable that inert matter should, without the mediation of something else which is not material, operate upon and affect other matter without mutual contact." The electron, the radio wave, the atom, the neutron, we have seen none of them, and yet we believe in their existence, content with their effects. We establish specialized sciences upon them and build laboratories and institutes for them. They are unseen within the unseen relative to our senses. Science does not know what anything is, absolutely. We know only names. We do not know the named realities. We exchange terms without knowing their essences. And he taught Adam the names, all of them. And God taught Adam the names only, and did not teach him the named realities. And he taught Adam the names, all of them. These are the limits of science. The ultimate aspiration of science is to recognize relations and quantities, but it cannot see the essence of anything, its quiddity or its true nature. It always recognizes things from their phenomena and feels them from the outside, and yet it embraces with its theories all essences, assumes hypotheses, and imagines issues that relative to its tools are pure conjecture and guesswork. We are in the age of the science of the unseen, of plunging into the labyrinths of hypotheses. Science now has no right to protest against the unseen after it has drowned up to its ears in the unseen. It is more incumbent upon us to believe in the world of the unseen, our Creator, the kind, the generous, whose traces we see in every glance of the eye, every beat of the heart, every moment of contemplation. This is a matter more worthy for us than drowning in hypotheses.